Hi, I'm Izzy from iTechnology, and I think that a lot of people are really interested in AI, but a lot of people don't have a good understanding of what AI is and how AI can help them. So there's a lot of different types of AI, and there's a lot of different buzzwords associated with AI. But sometimes the buzzwords get in the way of understanding how you can use AI to make your life easier and make your business more profitable. So with this in mind, I kind of wanted to take today to talk about how to approach AI in a way that's useful for you. So we would start by talking a little bit about some instructions and how to tailor prompts to be helpful. What are some projects and use cases that make sense? How can you use custom GPTs and file manipulation to get you the data results you're looking for? How do automations play into this? What is indexing and knowledge management? And how can you use AI to learn and synthesize information? This is largely going to be based off a presentation I gave to the Byram Library. And if this is something that you're interested in or learning more about AI, feel free to reach out to me in the comments section. Anyways, I want to start by talking about like what AI is when I'm talking about. So when people think of AI, they think of ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, which is essentially a chat bot, which consists of a graphical user interface of two people kind of typing back and forth. So you type something to the AI and the AI types something back to you. In the same way that we like chat rooms, AI sort of functions as your super smart chat assistant who can find the internet, but it's like really daft and is not really good at getting the right information. And tends to hallucinate a lot and tends to come up with a bunch of interesting things. But if you move slowly and you ask the right questions, you can get AI to where you want it to go. The tools that I think are pretty helpful to talk about today, and I know I'm not being comprehensive in this, are people oftentimes use something like ChatGPT through OpenAI. They might use Claude, which is produced by Anthropic, or they might use Notebook LM. And as a general statement about how you want to approach things, ChatGPT is the one that a lot of people use from a consumer perspective. It's easy to use, it's not super complicated. Claude tends to have really long memory and is really good at coding in general. And that's one of the reasons that it's used with Windsurf and other AI tools used to build applications. And Notebook LM is pretty good for knowledge organization. So let's say you have like the Harvard Business Review, for instance, and you want to distill insights from a specific issue. Notebook LM is a good tool to do that, and there's a couple different ways that they can approach that. So generally speaking, the big problem with AI is that instructions really matter. So when you're going to be asking AI to do something, oftentimes AI isn't asking clarifying questions. If I was to tell somebody to make me lunch, but we don't really know what lunch is, that's not a very helpful situation to be in. And the same is true for conversational AI. AI sees a vague request and it makes a lot of assumptions. So what you want to do is you want to focus on precise, structured instructions rather than weak general instructions. So instead of make me lunch, maybe it's I am gluten free and I am looking to make a meal with the following ingredients or surrounding the following dietary restrictions. I am good at this sort of thing. I am not comfortable with this. I want to make this percent protein. I want to follow this general guideline. The more specific you can get, the better AI will be able to tailor to your specific request. Sometimes if you're not sure how to write a great question, you can ask AI the question, which is, I want to make sure that my lunch includes the following characteristics. How should I ask this question to you? And when you come up with the various things you want to include, go back and forth. A lot of times prompts take iteration, and just because you don't get something the first time doesn't mean that it's something that's impossible. In general, if you were thinking about the sorts of things that go well with prompts, prompts tend to be very good at drafting business emails. A lot of emails that I need to write, AI is great at doing. AI is great at making things polite, making sure that my grammar is awesome. They're good at brainstorming campaign ideas. Let's say I'm doing some email marketing campaign. Being able to come up with a lot of different ideas and then pick and choose and tailor is really helpful to me when I have limited output otherwise. Another really strong use case for AI is AI is really good at synthesizing information. So if you want to outline a research project, that can be very helpful. Like, what sort of sources should I look at? What's related to this? And AI is also good at writing step-by-step procedures. So going back to the whole lunch example, if you know that you need to make food, it can walk you through things with as little or as much detail as you're looking for. For instance, when I'm studying statistics and one estimate about how does sampling bias work, sometimes it can be helpful to ask AI to break things down or explain things to me like I'm stupid. I sometimes say, explain this scientific concept to me like I'm 5. And it helps me understand this at a variety of different levels. I can also often ask it for practice questions to determine whether or not I truly understand the material. In general, here are some ways that you'd be wanting to approach prompts. Go into ChatGPT or Claude and try to write and edit and code and strategize what you're doing or how you're approaching things. If you want to use Notebook LM, try to build a knowledge base of the information that you think is really important. And as you're going through this, don't restart entirely. Each time you feel like you're hitting a dead end, try to iterate on these prompts and see if you can make them better. So one activity you can do right now, and I can't really pause this video, is I would try comparing the same prompt in all 3 tools. Also, an FYI, in case I didn't mention this before, Notebook LM is an offshoot of Gemini, so it's under the Google umbrella. Compare the same prompt in all 3 tools and see the different nuances to how something works. All of these AI tools are essentially like gigantic neural networks of information, and they might operate slightly differently. Sometimes the same prompt can output different results. Something else that can be really fun to do is you can build specialized AI agents for workflows. So for instance, let's say you want to make a content calendar generator. You can oftentimes ask ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini to do a pre-existing task on a regular basis. When I want to know what's the best and brightest news associated with AI, I have recurring instruction to ChatGPT to tell me what the latest AI news is. And you can use these specialized AI agents to generate workflows. So like, let's say I'm trying to build an email sequence. I can integrate this with one of their connectors, which will allow me to automatically schedule the tasks. One concern associated with this strategy is because AI is not completely deterministic. It is more of a network than it is a set of instructions. It may have somewhat inconsistent results. So while you might be able to do a lot with it, you also have to validate that what's being done is the correct thing. Another area that AI can be really helpful is file manipulation. So as we collect more and more information online, we tend to use it in more ways, and we tend to have a need to programmatically view it. And that's where AI can be very helpful. If you have a file like a PDF or a large Excel document, you can upload those files and ask for insights associated with it. So you can use AI to analyze spreadsheets to get a summary statistic about sales and budgets, or you can use AI to help you come up with macros or different repeatable tasks. So like, let's say you get a monthly sales report and you want this monthly sales report to calculate things that are derivative of the numbers. You can have AI come up with a toolkit to do that. You can also use AI to summarize PDFs or research papers, much in the same way that I would approach the statistics problems. And you can also generate reports from templates, which can be very helpful as you iterate through that. We can combine the AI agents, which we talked about in the last slide, with the file manipulation strategy to get to the results you're looking for and get information where you want it to be. Another thing that you can do is you can take advantage of automations. And so automations might not be done in exactly the same thing. Some popular automation software includes Zapier or N8N, which allows you to essentially follow a rules-based list of the different things that you wanted to do. And the big advantage to using something like N8N or Zapier is it can reduce repetitive work. If every time you have an email, you get a calendar invite, and that calendar invite needs to be standardized across Outlook, Google Calendars, and maybe Apple Calendars, you want to have a way of making these things automatically coordinate instead of having to go in and manually do the same thing. A lot of times, automations can be very good for getting away from the sort of tasks that you have to do on a regular basis and focusing really on the knowledge that you can give to somebody. So having an automation can be very helpful at increasing the speed and accuracy of what you're doing. So a good example of a few things that you might want to do is you might want to have daily summaries go out. You might want to cross-post things to social media, and you might want to run automatic reports on certain outcomes. So if you know exactly what metrics you're looking to pull, automations can be very good for getting you the deterministic result you're looking for. I would contrast automations from the chatbot style of solving problems or the LLMs, because automations tend to be a little bit more interpretable, a little bit more deterministic, but a little bit more limited in what you can do. The only things you can do with automations are to tell it to do specific things. So if you don't know what the specific things are, it's not going to be as helpful. So going kind of deeper into automations, you can also use automations to create interesting workflows. So you can use Zapier, you can use Make, you can use APIs. You can have something go from a Google Doc into an AI summary that gets emailed to team. And there you can practice by auto-generating a report from the information associated. Another thing that can be helpful when you're using AI is you can use it to index information. So a lot of times there's a lot of information out there and it isn't all in the same place. So what you can use by putting a couple different files together is you can start to descatter or declutter knowledge. So a good example of this is something like Notebook LM or Google's tool. So one reason why this could be helpful is you can use Google's tool to upload the information you're looking for and then find insights across this information. How does the Harvard Business Review relate to BCG's latest report on digital transformation with oil and technology? Similarly, if you're looking to be a little bit less specific or a little bit more broad, you can use ChatGPT or Claude to query across uploaded documents. Whatever documents that you've put within the specific chat that you've got with ChatGPT or Claude, you can ask the LLM to respond to queries across the uploaded docs and provide sources for what you're looking to find. And the reason why this might be helpful, or using AI in this use case, is that this can help you when looking through research libraries, when examining policy databases, or when approaching course hubs to find the information that you're looking for. So one thing that I like to do a lot when I'm solving a problem I haven't seen before is I ask to break down the problem into different steps or different areas that I can then take advantage of, and then use the tools to find me sources related to this so that I can really hone my questions and learn a lot faster. So you can index a set of things by going into Notebook LM, uploading the various documentation you'd want to put in PDF, Word, PowerPoint forms, and then ask for something like key arguments across multiple papers to see if you're getting the information you're looking for. So doing something like this would allow you to see a comparative summary of the information that you've presented to it. Another thing, and I think probably my favorite use case for AI, is AI for learning. So people say that AI is going to replace critical thinking, and I happen to disagree entirely. I think that I've used AI to consistently pick up things that would otherwise not be as clear to me. So because I understand project management really well, or because I'm really good at competitive debate, I like analogies that reference things I already know about. And so the big thing that's very helpful about ChatGPT or Claude or all of these LLMs is they can explain concepts at multiple levels. If I need something to be explained to me like I'm 5, they can do that. If I need something to be explained in a metaphor related to something I'm interested in, that's something else they can do. Another use case within this is you can have AI create flashcards and quizzes based on the material that you've uploaded, and you can summarize those long readings into digestible notes. So there's a lot of things that you're expected to read, but if you're really just asking questions about a subfield of it or a small topic, having to go through the entire reading again and again might not be a very good use of time. And AI really lets you hone in on what you want to learn. This is also very helpful in terms of synthesizing information across sources. So let's say you have a couple different sources of information, but it takes you a while to read it. You can upload those 3 documents and ask it to compare the 3 articles in like a pros and cons table, which will ultimately allow you to get the benefit of faster decisions and deeper insights because you're able to compare a wider array of things. For instance, there's a lot of management consulting terminologies and approaches, whether it's Six Sigma, whether it's the emotional intelligence guide, whether it's agile, whether it's Scrum. A lot of these things have different pros and cons, and you're probably not going to be able to get deep enough into any of these frameworks to truly make an educated decision. So having a good idea of what the highlights are can be helpful for deciding which direction you want to move into and which area do I want to get deeper into, rather than assuming that I need to know a little bit about everything. So if you want to practice this, I would upload an article or a case study in it and then ask AI to summarize the article you've got in front of you, to generate quiz questions, and to suggest 3 action steps for things you can do. So let's say you're uploading the latest Harvard Business Review. Ask AI to talk about what are these insights? How do I really make sure I understand the material? And then what are 3 things I can do in my day-to-day life to make sure that I implement these tools and these frameworks in the things I'm doing? Ultimately, as we've been talking about AI, I want to sort of distill what we've been talking about in general into things we can take away from this meeting. First, if you want to use AI, a lot of it is pre-AI related, in the sense that you are not going to have AI solve your problems as much as you are going to ask AI for the specific pieces of information that you need. Generally, AI can be very helpful for dealing with projects, for making automations, for indexing information, and for learning. As you can see, there's different tools associated with AI, and generally these tools all have slightly different flavors and unique strengths. It can help to have multiple. If you're mainly a consumer and you're not really using it for business, I would generally recommend using something like ChatGPT or Gemini. And then finally, I'd like you to think of AI not as a replacement for your skills, but as a partner. So going back to the automations analogy, there's probably a lot of busy work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis that isn't super valuable. When you're approaching this problem, try to find ways that you can really get rid of the scheduling, the finding time, and look for ways to really add insight into what you're doing. Ultimately, creating more business value will make whatever your business is more profitable. It'll make customers like you a whole lot more, and it'll be taking advantage of the stuff you have in front of you. People don't complain that we farm using advanced machinery because of the fact that we recognize that we get better results as a result from it. So you should take that same attitude to AI and look for ways to make sure that it benefits you in the way that it's being deployed. Anyways, that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in using AI for your business, reach out to me or comment, and I'll be sure to reach out to you. Thanks. Bye.